Welcome to the Power Source Workshop. In this workshop, we're going to be going deep into the map of consciousness and how you align your mind, your emotions, and your energy with the higher fields of consciousness, which is the actual source of power. So, essentially in this workshop, we're going to go into how to make yourself more powerful as you get older, both in martial arts, but also in life. Hope you enjoy. Alrighty, well, let us begin, team. Get your workbooks out, get a pen, coffee. We're going to be going through some in-depth training on the power source. Now, let me just, okay, what's the screen look like there, T? Have you got me in the corner? Yeah. All right. Like I'm in the corner here? Yeah, cool. The whole thing or just part? Beautiful. All righty. Welcome, team. Wonderful to see all your lovely faces. We focused last month we were focusing on letting go, surrender. So that was about releasing the blockages, the tensions, the fear, doubt, resentments, blame, complaints, all the negativities in our system. This month, so for the whole of June, our focus is spiritual intent or the power source. Now, this is essentially how you develop your power, your presence, and how to become lethal. The boys said they like the word lethal as you age. And essentially, this is activating the sword of spiritual intent. So aligning the mind, so intent as in mind, with the spirit as in consciousness. So I first kind of came across this concept through reading an article from my Kung Fu master. He's that guy there behind me. And essentially, he would say, infuse the spirit. He'd say infuse the spirit into the center, and he'd also say infuse the spirit into the whole body. And I was like, what the hell is this? What the hell is infusing the spirit? It made no sense to me as a young martial artist. But you could see the power that was generated by him, an old 75-year-old man throwing all these young, strong athletes around. So that's where I first came across this. And this is what we're going to be focusing on this month. How do you get your mind, your body, your emotions, your energy in alignment with the source of power, which is the field of consciousness itself? Now, just a quick kind of context setter so you kind of understand where we're going with this. The body cannot experience itself. The body needs something greater so that you can experience itself. So the body has the mind so that it knows that it exists. And we can know this because, if we take the mind out of your body, you don't realize you're there, right? We can all agree that if your mind is taken out of your body, you don't really know it's there, right? Or if we took the brain out of your body, the thing which receives the thoughts, then kaput. The next piece is the mind cannot experience itself either. It needs a greater context. It needs consciousness or spirit in Kung Fu terms. And this is what we're working on today. How do we become conscious of the consciousness and spirit so that we can utilize that for power? Cool. So if you are following me, give me a thumbs up if this is making sense so far. So I can see. Good. All righty. Thank you. So this is a part of the whole system. So you see the whole system of ageless power, or what we call the state, works on three key areas. You've got the emotional side, the physical structural side, and the mental side. And essentially, we're solving three key problems that most people have. And number one is they're easily rattled or disturbed emotionally, easily dismissed or distracted mentally, or easily moved or collapsed structurally. So we're looking to develop power structurally, physically, emotionally, and mentally, because that's what brings out the state. That's how masters that are, 70, 80 are able to throw around younger, stronger opponents. So we are going to be working. So there's several key components here, but we're going to be working in this area here today. And this is going to be our focus for the month, developing what we call the command compass, the power source, right? So this is where we're going to be dialing in today. So this is where I first saw it. You can just have a quick watch of this bad boy. the end part. Anyway, so that was my master, that old dude that was fucking all of us young guys up. I personally wanted to stop being so aggressive and forceful in my own martial training. Led me down a pretty bad path. Found myself in a prison cell. Long story short, my mother and sister suggested I find something more peaceful, more internal, which is how I found my Kung Fu master. I started training in Chinatown. He came from Hong Kong and did a seminar. And I was one of the stronger, bigger guys. I was doing bouncing and I was Australian Taekwondo champion, so I thought I could fight. Anyway, in the seminar, he called out for one of us to come up. I went up and I put my pressure on him. I'm like, all right, I'll stop this old fucker. Anyway, he just launched me across the room with effortlessly, and my brain literally exploded because it just didn't make any sense. So I said, one more time, one more time. Then I went over to him and I held again, and he smiled at me, small Chinese smile, put one leg in the air. So he balanced on one leg this time and then launched me even further. Like I'm talking like 4 meters across the room. And it just broke what I believed was possible from our human potential. I asked him, what are you doing? And he said, I'm using the mind and the chi or energy. I became fully obsessed with this and in trying to understand how to do it. And that's why I pretty much packed up and moved to Hong Kong to train and live with him for a decade. Now, coming back to it, what is the power source? So essentially, it's consciousness itself. As a human being, we have a body, we have emotions, we have a mind, but we're also in a field of consciousness. Now, this is accessed via what we call spiritual intent or highest intent. So and everyone has a spiritual intent or and highest intention, but often it's subconscious, meaning we haven't decided what we want our intention to be. Some people are naturally quite loving. Some people are actually quite angry. So your intention can be anywhere along a scale of consciousness itself, but we'll go deeper into that. Another way to describe it is just your level of consciousness. Like, what is your level? And you might say, oh, but everyone is conscious, right? No, not all people are equal in the sense that you can just think through your life. Think about those super, let's say, negative people. They are what we'd call less conscious. Where's the map? I think you guys have, can you see that? Does it come up? Yeah. No, it doesn't come up. All right. We'll get to it. We'll go deeper into that in a minute. So another way to think about it is your mind, so your mental faculty focused on spirit. This is another way to think of the power source or spiritual intent. So you take the word spiritual and you think consciousness, spirit, and you take the word intention and you think mind, mental. And how do we infuse those two together so that you're accessing a greater energy or a greater power? So that's what that describes down here. We're going to be going into some concepts which might be new or foreign to some of you about different types of qualities of bodies that we actually have. So a mental body and emotional body, and how we align those with the higher fields of consciousness. So simply put, the power source is your spiritual intention. It is your mind focused on the spirit, or consciousness is another way to say it. Drop me a 1 in the chat if this is making sense so far. Drop me a 1 in the chat. T, can you see the chat? You can? Okay, we got good. A couple people are getting it. Is everyone else confused? All right, 3. Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome. All righty. So just take a minute to rate your power. And I want you to just take a moment to look, think about, okay, your body. Do you feel aligned, balanced, efficient, or do you feel heavy and disconnected? And I want you to rate yourself from 1 to 10. 1 being, okay, my power feels terrible. 10 feeling I'm at my maximum level of potential power. Just right where you are right now, because then this will be a good way to reflect at the end of the month once you've worked on this throughout the whole month. So first, body, rate yourself. The next, mind. Can you stay focused and present, or are you scattered and distracted? Give yourself a rating. Good. And then emotion on 1 to 10, 1 being the lower side, 10 being the higher side. Are you calm under pressure, or are you reactive and easily thrown off? And then lastly, your energy intent. Do you feel directed and purposeful, or flat and inconsistent? So give yourself ratings. Once you've finished, oops, go back. Once you finish rating yourself, give me a yes in the chat, so just so I know we're all done and we can move forward. Yes. Oh, Lex is on fire first. Look at that. Does my chat come up in your screen? Can you guys see it or not? It does? Okay. I just don't want to block the words for you, so I'll put it to the side here. Yes, 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 yes. Good. James is a yes. So yeah, this is important because you want to be able to give yourself something to measure yourself against, meaning when you reflect over this month, because this month we're going to focus fully on developing our connection to higher fields of power, then you can look back and go, holy shit, I have gone from a 3 to a 9 or a 2 to a 7, or I've gone backwards. What went wrong? Yeah. So it gives you something to measure yourself against. All righty. Let's move forward. So the two big kind of underlying concepts we're going to work with today, we've got two big ideas and four decisions to be made. The first big idea is consciousness itself. So this map was mapped out by Dr. David Hawkins through kinesiology. And for those of you who aren't aware, it's a scale of the levels of consciousness, or AKA the levels of force and power. So down the bottom, you can see we have shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride on the lower, forceful, weaker side of one's consciousness. And then you reach an important point called the line of integrity. This is when your energy system shifts from force to power. Look, you can go up and down through this field, but we all have a baseline which can be raised. And that's the intention of this month, is for us to raise our level of consciousness through what's called the spiritual intent. Now, once you reach the line of integrity, you go up into the fields of power. This is where your energy becomes strong. Courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. So this is a logarithmic scale. So for the newer guys who haven't seen this before, it's not just +1, an additional scale. It's logarithmic. So it's to the power of. So 200 is tremendously more powerful than 175 because of its logarithmic growth as opposed to just a linear growth. So, a simple way, like 500 at love is extremely more powerful than, let's say, anger at 150. So consciousness, we'll go deeper into this in a minute. Now, the energy bodies is the next piece we're going to go into. The energy bodies is essentially the non-physical bodies. So remember when my master threw me around and I said, what are you doing? And he said he's using his mind and his energy, right? These are two of the bodies that he was using. So he was using the mind being the mental body, this golden one, and the energy being the blue body, the blue one. So we are not only physical. We have a physical body, we have an energy body, an emotional, mental, spiritual, and etheric. So you've got five bodies that all come towards one. So physical, emotional, mental, energetic, and spiritual. So you've got five that come to one. Cool. So they're the two ideas that we're going to be moving around, which will actually give you access to the higher fields of power. Now, is this all making sense so far? Give me a double thumbs up if we're following and it's making sense. All right, rock and roll. Love it. So the four new decisions that I'm going to ask you guys to make today so that we can really experience life differently throughout this month and step into those fields of power is, number one, to choose whether you want to go via power or force. For the newer guys, that we teach how to be powerful, meaning how to let go of force. Force is grind, counter force, resistance, strain, effort, hustle. It's the forceful way of achievement. It's not wrong, it's just a different way. Power is alignment, flow, ease, connection, like gravity. Gravity is constant and absorbs force. The next decision we want to talk about is tense or sense. So we have a physical body, and the problem is when we're too focused on the physical, that can lead to tension. So we're going to make a decision. Are we going to go into tense or sense? Tension or sensing? So we'll go deeper into that as we go. The next piece is thought or feeling. Now, this isn't to say that thinking is bad, because thinking obviously isn't a bad thing. It's just that often thinking is overvalued. Often people value their thoughts so much that they'll die for them. When really, thoughts aren't necessarily even your own. And often what this reflects is that the heart center actually isn't awake. And when the heart center is more open and connected, energy flows through your body better, and it actually connects your head and your body. So something quite obvious and easy to see is that my head and my body are connected via the heart. So the next decision we're going to discuss is, thinking or feeling. Which are you going to choose in a moment? Now, and then the last decision we're going to talk about is achievement or alignment. Achievement tends to link to force, like a linear sense of getting and doing. Alignment is about connecting, allowing, and being with what already is. So let me put it in a simple, understandable way. Often people say they want to achieve power through structure. If we think of this simply in terms of power generation in combat, often people talk about structure. So you could think about skeleton and fascia, right? And you think, I'm going to achieve good structure. But the thing is that you already have structure. Can we agree that we all have bones? Right? Your body has bones and fascia in it. Right. So it's already there. The problem with trying to achieve something is that it separates you from the fact that it's already there. So you're more so aligning with what is already within you as opposed to achieving something. And I see this all the time. I've been teaching for a long time, internal arts. And often people think of, I'm going to get this power, I'm going to, get this belt, or I'm going to achieve the state or achieve unified structure. But you already have it. And when you think in terms of achievement as opposed to alignment, you keep going through this feedback loop of a linear sequence. Oh, if I do this, I feel my spine, then I sense my body, then I target it, then that process keeps taking you out of the actual experience of it. So alignment is, for example, another way of saying about it. Do you achieve having a spine? Of course not. You already have one. So it's about aligning your focus with your spine to give power. So we'll go deeper into that as we go. So these are the decisions we're going to be looking at. If you are excited to go deeper, just give me a thumbs up so I can see you're with me. Are you with me? All righty, everyone's with me. Let's do this. Rock and sausage roll. So if you're enjoying this workshop and you want assistance going deeper into these teachings, if you want me to help you implement this into your training and your life, then I do take a small number of students into my private training academy each month. I do about 5 to 8 calls per week to see who's the right fit. There'll be a link somewhere on this page, probably below. Click a link and see if you can find a slot to book a private assessment with me, and we'll see if we're the right fit. Peace. So, power or force? This is the first, we're going to get into it. So, in regards to consciousness itself, my first real experience with this like a real shift in levels of consciousness was when I was practicing this walking meditation from the Gurdjieff teachings. It was like my first kind of spiritual study. He would talk about that man is asleep, and that we can raise our level of consciousness via work, via observing ourselves, via remembering ourselves. And he would say that you have unconscious people, subconscious people, conscious people, self-conscious people, self-superconscious people. And this was the first time I came across these ideas. And it was around the time of The Matrix. If you've seen The Matrix, then drop me an M in the chat. Anyone seen The Matrix? Yeah, seen it? One person seen it. Come on, guys. Hey, okay, a few people have. All right, good. So you get the idea that mankind is asleep, right? It was an interesting concept because I'd never heard of it. Anyway, so they gave me these meditations to practice, right? Um, and I was doing this walking meditation where I'd walk and feel my feet on the floor and look down in front of me. And I did this for a few days. And on like the third or fourth day, I can't remember exact day it was, everything shifted. I no longer felt a sense of it wasn't just my body. I was connected to the space around me, the sound, and one step felt like it was, an eternity. And that was my first experience of a different level of consciousness. I the simplest way to describe it was like a sense of oneness. I felt connected to everything, and I was high for like 6 to 8 weeks after that. I was just in this sense of whoa, like awe, and it was amazing. I can feel it just thinking about it. Um, and that really led me on this journey of trying to understand, okay, what is this whole consciousness thing? Now, the concepts that you want to start to be aware of is that, okay, well, let's see if I can go back a step. Here, on this map, you have two main areas. You've got the levels of force and the levels of power. And your degree of alignment with those will depend on a couple of things. Number one, your intent. Like, what's your intention, which is like your overarching intention for your life. So intention. And the other part is attention. What are you focused on? So a very simple way to just be aware of this is think of someone you love very much. This is usually the simplest gateway, whether it's a pet or your children or your favorite food, and just bring them to your mind. And as you bring them into your mind, observe the emotional quality that comes with that. Okay, so if you noticed a feeling quality with that thought, give me a thumbs up. Can I see any thumbs? Was there a feeling that came with that or no? Okay, there was. Okay, good. Now let's go into force. Think of someone who pisses you off. Think of that situation that wasn't so pleasant. Think of that person, that event, and just notice the shift in your energy. This exercise works out 100% of the time. 90% of the time, every time. Anyway, you get the idea. So your attention links you to different fields. So let's come back to where we were. So force is the lower frequencies, and you'll know that you're in the lower frequencies by your feeling quality. Power are the higher frequencies: love, joy, freedom, courage. Now, a couple of points on that. Firstly, integrity. So this critical line, you want to be your baseline, meaning integrity is a way of saying, I am fully responsible for the way I feel, think, and the way my life is. Integrity is stepping out of blame, complaint, victim to responsible, to creative and responsible. So essentially, by reaching that level of integrity, it's like having the courage to own your experience. Whereas we've all been there when we're blaming someone or something or some event for the reason we're feeling a certain way. So the game becomes I feel this way because of me. It's my responsibility for this situation. It's much easier to blame other people because then you don't have to, take responsibility. But the problem is that the problem with not taking responsibility for your own emotional, mental, and physical condition is that it prevents you from being able to change. Yes, you get to blame everyone else and feel like it's their fault and you can be a victim, but it prevents change because you can't shift your energy into power. So the critical line of integrity is important. Yeah, and I'll ask you guys now, do you want to play victim or do you want to play creator? It's your choice. So let me know in the chat. You want to play creator or victim? You choose. Let me know. Victim or creator? Yes, integrity is the dotted line. That's right. Creator. We got one creator, two creators. How many creators we got here? Because three creators. Yeah, I choose creator 100%. Like being a victim's being a little bitch, full stop. I mean, not to be too aggressive, but it is, that's the way it is. If you're blaming other people for the way you feel, think, and your life situation, then you're really playing super small. You're playing very, very small, and you're not being truthful to yourself, which is why you don't feel powerful, because you aren't powerful in that moment, because you're giving your power away. You're choosing to place your power onto an external circumstance, which has nothing to do with the way your life is. It's always to do with the way you are internally. Another way to simply say this is your life doesn't give you what you want. Your life gives you what you are. So whatever you are internally will be reflected externally. All righty, let's bring it back. So now this is an interesting topic. So in experience and learning, what I've come to realize and understand is that we are consciousness. The thing is that we are identified, meaning our focus is on our physical body and our thoughts and emotions. So we identify with that as self. But the more you practice, the more you start to become aware, you'll realize you are the field of consciousness. So how can we say this? This example tends to help people, and I've said this one before. Let's say you're a very loving, caring person, right? And you're walking down the street and you see someone injured on the ground, bleeding, suffering. You'll most likely pick them up, help them, maybe take them to a place where they can be, the hospital, somewhere to be taken care of, give them some money, make sure they're okay. Okay, good. Now, let's say an angry, hateful, vengeful person walks past this same suffering, injured person on the street. They might kick them, take their wallet, punch them and spit on them and walk off, right? So a hateful person acts one way, a loving person acts another, right? What is the difference between the two? What's the difference? Okay, one's loving, one's hateful. It's their level of consciousness. So the loving person takes loving actions. The angry, hateful person takes hateful actions. So the actions aren't coming from the physical body. The actions are coming from the mind. But we take that further. What is influencing the mind? The level of consciousness. Remember, the body can't experience itself. It needs the mind. And the mind can't experience itself. It needs consciousness. So our degree of alignment with the field of consciousness itself is what determines the actions we take. If you're following me, give me a thumbs up right in the center. This makes sense? Good. Did everyone give I don't know. If it's not making sense, give me a thumbs down. Anyone not following? Is this crazy to anyone? All right, everyone's all right. We're all on point. Awesome. So let's move forward. Another way to think about this, right? Another way to approach it is that these fields are like an infinite field of radio stations that you can attune with, that you can tune yourself to. Now, side note, what I've observed personally and with my students is that when you align with the higher fields of consciousness, with the source of power, your potential naturally manifests. Your spirit or your connection to the higher fields is linked to the potential that's in you. Pretty much everyone I've met, if you have a long enough or deep enough conversation, you'll start to hear about their dreams, their hopes, their wishes, what they want for their life, whether that's a deep loving relationship, or whether that's to be a Kung Fu master, or whether that's to be a multimillionaire, or to help people in a country, whatever it is. Everyone has a certain potential and dreams and hopes. What I've observed is that as people raise their level of consciousness via the spiritual intent, naturally these potentials start to manifest because they are operating from power now. And the potential within them starts to manifest easier with a sense of flow and alignment with power. So coming back to it, you can think of the field of consciousness like radio stations. 104 point love, 96 point pride, 103 point reason, 92 point grief, right? And you can attune yourself with these fields. And that's what we do in our state training. We use intention, attention, and the different types of energy to attune ourselves with the higher fields of consciousness. And of course, we work on releasing the connections to the lower fields as well. But that was last month. Yeah, it's not to say that it won't cross over the surrender work, but it's not our focus this month. Cool. Now, let's get to some exercises. In regards to leveling up your power, the first simple exercise is to just set your intention. So what is your highest intention? Meaning, what level of consciousness do you wish to align with? So if you take a look at the map, right, a couple of pages back, you've got courage, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. For the guys that have come late, the workbook's in the chat if you haven't downloaded it, or just get a pen and paper and that will be useful. So what we're doing now is we're setting our intention. You understand what the field of consciousness is. You understand that via intent, you start to link to it. So what do you choose as your level? You can just write that on your paper or drop it in the chat. It's up to you. Love, and it doesn't have to be something here. It could be freedom, prosperity, something which is it's the way you want to be in the world. Do you want to be peaceful, present, calm, loving, reasonable, forgiving, accepting, enlightened, courageous, neutral, whatever? Nothing's wrong nor right. You just want to set your intention so that you actually have something in your mind's eye or something to remember that you're aiming at that. You know that that's what you wish to align with. So then as you act throughout your daily life, you have something to compare it to. Oh, wait a second, that wasn't exactly peaceful when I punched that guy in the head. Perhaps there's something to be released or evolve towards. So set your intention. That's the first one. Once you have set your intention, drop me unconditional love. Love it, T. Drop a 1 in the chat for me once you've done that. Once you've set your intention, drop a 1 in the chat. And look, guys, don't worry. If you choose it, you're not stuck with it for life. You can always evolve it and alter it and change it. That's also fine. So once you've set your intention, so for the guys who've just come in the recent, we're just picking a level of consciousness or a field that we're wishing to align ourselves with. We got Jace, Lex, Alberto, Gary, Bacillus, Andrea, an iPhone, Charles the iPhone. All right, good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to do 2 more exercises with this. The first one, the first exercise we're going to do is we're actually going to go into the actual feeling quality of that. So it's like a meditation. So get yourself comfortable. Just get your body into a nice comfortable position. Close down your eyes and take some deep breaths. Breathe with a sense of ease. Calm down the mind and relax the body. And as you breathe gently and rhythmically, bring your spiritual intention, your highest intention, into your mind. Softly focus the mind on your spiritual intent. Feel the elevated emotion. allow yourself to enter into this feeling quality, this energy. Now, imagine some person, place, event, or experience, something which helps you to feel the emotion, the energy of your intention. Perhaps someone you love, perhaps a moment where you felt courageous or free. Feel it. Enter into it. Breathe it into every cell. Feel it. Bring your awareness back to the body and the room you're in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Now, take a moment to just write down at the set your intention space where it says there, just write down how it felt. Write down, okay, what was the experience of emotional quality? Just any observations, just write it down on your own paper. Because we want to actually, it's important to actually write it because the act of writing it down embodies it deeper because you're getting your physical body and your mind to work in unison to remember that condition. And this is essentially what we're going to want to enter into for this month. So getting into that feeling. Yeah. And don't worry, it's unlimited. You can stay in a good feeling forever. There's no limitations to it. It's like saying, oh, there's a limited amount of oxygen today. It's there constantly. No, gravity's not much gravity today. Bummer. Power's never ending. So write it down. What was the experience? Write down what you thought of. Even if it was difficult to get to, it doesn't matter. Just write it all down. Um, and that does happen, to be honest. As you level up your power, as you level up your consciousness, you will find things that need to be let go of. So that's natural. So don't worry if you were trying to be loving and you thought of something that you didn't love. Good. Write that all down. You know what we'll do, just to get a little bit of spiciness. Where is it? Uh, where are my breakout rooms? Huh? Why is there no breakout rooms? Oh, there we are. Okay, cool. So I want you guys to jump into a breakout room and share any observations you had with your room. Now, the reason we share observations is so you learn from each other, but also to connect with all these other awesome people all over the world. So jump into your breakout room, share any observations, and then we'll come back in, 5 minutes. So let everyone share what they experienced. Let's go. Jump in your room. Yeah, you do, man. How do I say your name, bro? Oh, Aaron. Oh, hey, Aaron. How are you, man? I'm Ping Duty, bro. Think
Great dinner.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you.
Isn't it? We haven't played mash for a long time.
No.
Beautiful, brother. You're on the right track, man. That's awesome. Nah, man. Keep it up, brother. I feel you, man. Like you got your 3 kids there. I honestly give it up to you, bro. You home homeschool them. Oh, I'm on the way. You're contributing, brother. Good on you.
Welcome back, team. Welcome back.
Yo.
Got the kids with us as well. Awesome. All righty. So that feeling quality, that's the indicator. So each level of consciousness comes with a feeling quality. So, we're going to go deeper into this in a moment. But the whole idea is that you want to use the mind to focus on that level of intent, and that activates the feeling quality, which lets you know that you're in alignment with that field of consciousness. Good. So let's go to the next exercise so we can get a little deeper with that. Let me have a look here. If you're enjoying this workshop and you want assistance going deeper into these teachings, if you want me to help you implement this into your training and your life, then I do take a small number of students into my private training academy each month. I do about 5 to 8 calls per week to see who's the right fit. There'll be a link somewhere on this page, probably below. Click a link and see if you can find a slot to book a private assessment with me, and we'll see if we're the right fit. Peace. So look, one part is having set your intention, right? Knowing, okay, love, freedom, prosperity, peace, creativity, whatever it is. And that's indicated by your emotional experience in a moment. Now, how does that translate to martial power? Because that's another big reason that a lot of us are practicing. Well, firstly, I'll give you a quick story. At my master's house, we would go there and we'd train, anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And some students would train all day, like they'd be there 6 to 10 hours every day, but they'd get worse. So their power would decrease. And other students would come 2 to 3 times a week for 1 to 2 hours a day and get better. So they were practicing the same thing, but you'd think that if they practiced more, they'd get better, but they didn't. And that was very curious to me because it was interesting to see how all of these people training the same methodology would all get varied results. And I was like, what's the differentiating factor here? It was a little kind of confusing for me. 1 second. All right, you got my full screen now? Yeah? T? Yeah. And it dawned on me as I went deeper into the spiritual side of the teachings because I had my Kung Fu master, but I also had my spiritual teachers as well, who in Cyprus and also in the States, that it was the level of consciousness that was influencing the outcome. When I asked there was one guy who trained a lot, and there was this other lady who trained a little, but the lady was getting so much better. She was an older lady. She was about 50 something, and she was just getting so powerful effortlessly. And when she was asked, what does it, because it's called the state, he was putting us helping us get into a state. When asked, what does the state feel like to you? She said, it feels like I'm in love. And I was like, feels like love. And when I was getting put into the state, I could understand what she meant. It was like a sense of freedom, of release, of connection, of lovingness. So how does that track back to the martial power question? My master was always, so my Kung Fu master, as you can see there. I don't know, you can't see him behind me. I'll show you 1 second. Stop share. There he is. Not Arnie, this guy. I like Arnie for his mindset, but not for his muscles. This guy here, this is my master. He was Ip Man. Ip Man, who's seen Ip Man? If you've seen Ip Man, give me double thumbs up. Yeah? So Ip Man here, then my master was his student. Yeah? So that's our lineage. Ip Man to Troshin Ting, to me, to us, right? He was always so joyful and loving. Like I only ever twice in 10 years saw him. Once I saw him upset when one of his students passed away. And another time I saw him like slightly pissed off because there was this guy being a jerk in the school. But for 10 years, he was just always so joyful and wise and so great to be around. And I realized that was the source of his power. On the map of consciousness, he was around the reason and love area. So because that was his baseline, that was the spirit that would come through the consciousness that would come through his mind and be expressed through his body. So when he said, I use my mind, right? His mind was in alignment with power, with reason and love and joy. So his chi, his energy body, was able to express that frequency of power, which is expansive, which is flowing, as opposed to, for example, the guy that trained a lot and got worse, he was in like a desire and pride energy. He would often say, I'm going to be the best in the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way he was going about it. It was very forceful. So his skill was actually declining because he was coming from the wrong field. So I hope that starts to make sense, how that correlates with your ability to generate power, which is kind of cool. You've got to start to enjoy life more if you want to be more powerful.
A lot of people like to discuss how we built this tool.
I'm just gonna silence whoever's watching TikTok.
Sorry.
No TikTok while we're training, all right, guys? 1 sec, I'm gonna find the mute button. Give me a sec. Here we go. I just clicked the shut the fuck up button. Alrighty, let's get back to it. So now let's do something a little practical. So the exercise I want us to do is movement with force versus movement with power. So we're going to consciously enter into the fields of force via our focus and move the body. And then we're going to do it in a state of power via our focus as well. So a simple exercise we can do for this, just so you can get the feeling for it, is just what we call a roll down. So you're using, because look, centering, meaning your spine and your central energy channel, we'll go deep into that next month or the month after. Your spine is like the kind of antenna, the receiver of the field of consciousness. You've got your what they call your chakra system or energy centers along here. So you can think of this like the antenna for consciousness, right? So what we're going to do is I want you to start off just getting into a standing position and don't calm down too much. I want you to go the opposite way. So what I want you to do is I want to think of that motherfucker from the past, part of my French. Oh, sorry, someone's got kids here. I mean, that naughty person from the past, or that experience or something or someone or something which is giving some, tension or resistance in your life. And I just want you to hold that in your mind for a second. Now, as you hold that in your mind, I want you to just do a roll down. So keep your thought on that person, place, event, or experience as you roll the spine down and then roll the spine up. And I just want you to observe the quality of the movement in your system, right? Just observe the quality of the spine's movement as you stay focused on force. Do it a couple of times and then come back up. And that was just, okay, good. So now just shake it out, loosen out a little bit. That was just you focusing on it, right? So your mind was focused consciously on force. Now, delete that, and I want you to come back to the exercise we just did before. Think of that person that you love very much, or that event or that experience of your intention. Remember, we set our intention and then we brought an image to mind. I want you to go to that feeling quality. Take some deep breaths and really let yourself enter into that feeling. And as you get into that sense, that energy, that frequency, that feeling quality, now maintain that feeling as you do the roll down again. So same movement, different intent. And just do that a couple of times. So doing your roll down a couple of times, coming from your highest intent or your spiritual intent. Just do that a few times. And bring it back. So there is one experience. Now, look, that same exercise can be translated into anything. So whatever your martial art might be, whether you're a Wing Chun player or a grappler or a boxer or Taekwondo, whatever, or a rock climber, whatever you do, right? By accessing these higher fields, you naturally expand the flow of energy through your system and you attune yourself with the fields of power. Hence, you are more powerful. Now, drop in the chat maybe 1 or 2 words about the difference in the experience. How did the second one feel different? Was it the same? Was it more relaxed? Was it freer? Like, just drop in the chat so I get a feel for what your experience was like. Don't be shy. There'll be no judgment. You did it wrong. You suck. More smooth. Good. Second was smooth. First sharp, second smoother. Relaxed versus stiff. There you go. And that was all. So we can see a theme here. Easier. Great. Okay. So it was like the body was greased. Yeah. There you go. The mind influences the body. But what influences the mind? Consciousness. Something very interesting. I was reading on a study on schizophrenics that so people with multiple personalities, that the personality's beliefs would influence the body. So the eye color would change as they shifted personality, and the diseases in the body would disappear and appear. So like diabetes would be there and then it would be gone. Or, for example, The eyes would be blue, then they'd be green. The mind, and that's fucking crazy. Think about it, right? So what am I getting at? You want to align your mind with the higher fields of consciousness to maximize your power. You know, people think, okay, I'm just going to do more techniques. I'm going to train harder. I'm going to do more. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to watch more martial arts videos. I'm going to get another training partner. If you don't work on your level of consciousness in your mind, there's no point. You're just pushing a boulder uphill. It's much better to become gravity, to be constant power. Now, often one of the blockages to this is that it's actually really simple. Meaning, bring your mind to something that leads to a good feeling quality and rest in that. And it's so simple that people will discount its value because there's a common belief that only things that take hard work and effort are valuable. And that's a totally retarded belief. Why? How much do you pay for oxygen? Do you find oxygen valuable? How much do you pay to live? Like living right now and experiencing this moment with me, with everyone else, looking at the screen, looking around you, experiencing life. How much did you pay for that? Do you think it's valuable? I'm pretty sure we can all value that we're alive and that we can breathe. And how about your heartbeat? Did it take hard work for that to happen? You understand? So the point is that simple, natural, easy things are extremely valuable. I'd say even more valuable, like love, like when you fall in love, when you have a loving feeling for someone, extremely valuable, probably the most valuable, right? But you don't have to work hard for it. So a part of aligning with spiritual intent is releasing the belief that you need to grind, force, hustle, work hard, nose to the grindstone in order to align with it. It's simple, it's easy, it's free. And if you came to our last workshop last month, that was the kind of saying that ran through the month from the Adam Sandler movie, for free. Anyone seen that? Thumbs up if you've seen that. Hey, for free. Anyway, so moving forward. Setting your intention. We've done that part. We know what our intention is, and this is what you'd like to kind of, I'd suggest you bring into the month. Hey, Mandy, what's up? Dr. Namata, welcome as well. So we've set our intention, and now we've seen how it relates to movement. Now, whatever your movement practice might be, whether it's Kung Fu forms or whether it's sparring or horse riding or swimming, you want to first and foremost bring yourself to your intention. Now, my favorite teacher, the Christ, he actually said it in a different way, and this is at least my interpretation, is to seek first the kingdom of God. And for me, that kingdom of God is that internal feeling of connection, of love, of wholeness. And if you seek that first moment to moment, naturally power flows to you and through you. I think the second part of that quote is, and all will be added to you. Yeah, so not a bad one. All righty. So continuing ahead, team. Now it's time to make a decision. Choose. The old way is force, push, grind, hustle, work, effort. The new way is power, alignment, love, flow, freedom, connection. Choose. This is one of the choices I would like you to make. And look, no judgment. If you want to be Captain Force Pants, that's up to you. But let's just drop in the chat what we're going to choose. Are we choosing force or power? You can write it down as well. Get the body involved. So force or power? What do we got? A couple of powers there. Excellent. I'd suggest you choose power as well. Hey, 3 powers, 4 powers. Good. Power. Andrea with the power. Alberto. Dr. Sparkles. Power, 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 power. Good. You know, this whole month as a team, as a family, as a unit, we're aligning with our spiritual intent, which is the fields of power. And just watch your life change, watch your skill accelerate. It's tremendous. And actually, I've got some really cool exercises and tips for us to go throughout this month, and some cool books as well that we can be reading too. Awesome. Rock and roll. Looks like we all want to step into the fields of power. Awesome sauce. Let's move forward. So the next topic and decision we want to be looking at is tensor sense. Now, this links to what's called the energy body. Now, the energy body is or what my master called the chi body. Remember when he first threw me around that time and I asked him, like, what are you doing? He said, I'm using in Cantonese, he said chi, which is energy. So he was using his energy. And I was just like, I thought that was all woo-woo nonsense at the time. My sister was a Reiki healer, and I always used to give her shit. I was like, ooh, Reiki, ooh, you know. And then when my master said that he was using chi, which is like ki from Reiki, I was just like, damn it, my sister was right. Anyway, if any of you guys kind of follow me on my stories in Instagram, she always sends me messages calling me a CUNT. So we have a very fun relationship. So anyway. So I was at my master's. When it says Sifu, Sifu means master or teacher. I was at my master's place, and when I was doing training with him, like I remember there was just one time he was doing, what was the movement? Yeah, it was this movement. He was doing this movement where he was just bringing his hand down and forward. And he said, okay, I'm using muscle. Now I'm using structure. Now I'm using chi or energy. And when he did energy, it felt like his body was empty, but there was like a wall that was bigger than him coming to me. So it felt like a wall that was like this big, and it was coming towards me as he did it, but his body felt relaxed. And I was just like, what the fuck is that? Like, I was still, this is like in the first couple of years of being there. And he said, okay, so then I could feel the difference in density. I'll borrow you, T, so I can actually demonstrate. So he was doing this movement here against, so if you hold here, we're doing this movement here where he would push with force, like muscle force, and there'd be a certain level of movement. Then he'd go into his structure and do the structural movement, and then he'd do state where he'd enter into his etheric body and then do the movement again, just go straight there. So, and it just felt like, thanks, T. So he was doing that movement, and it was just like, what's going on here? And his description was that he was using once again, his mind and his energy, but the feeling was like an empty wall coming at me. Now, with that experience, my kind of questions in the mind were, okay, how does one tap into that? And of course, he was teaching us to the best of ability. But I'd found these other teachings which helped support that. And these were the teachings. As some of you might know, I studied in Cyprus with some spiritual teachers and energy masters there on the healing side of energy. And they were teaching how to use the energy body as well. And I remember, coming back from my training in Hong Kong, I was on this boat and I was doing one of the energy meditations, and I felt exactly that. I felt that my body was bigger, like expanded around me. I felt like I was maybe 10 or 12 foot. And I was like, it was so strong, the experience, that I had to open my eyes and check if I'd actually grown. It was really weird. I was like, wait a second. I hadn't, obviously, but these experiences started to lead me to understand that we do have these non-physical bodies. We're going to go deeper into the actual emotional body and the mental body as well, other non-physical bodies. But right now we're dealing with the energy body of the physical. So you've got your physical body and the energetic counterpart. It's also known as the etheric body or etheric double. So, from feeling with my Kung Fu master and to experiencing it myself through my own meditative and practice, led to getting a deeper understanding for it. Now, coming back to you. The way to start to actually activate this etheric body, the energy body, is identification, because meaning the problem most of us have is that we identify with the physical body and our thoughts. So we think that we are the physical, or we think that we are the thoughts. So the identification with that our attention on it makes us feel that that is what we are. So what the game becomes is that we want to start to identify with the non-physical components of ourself. The energy body is like the initial gateway. Like you go from just living your life as a physical body and thinking thoughts, and then you start to realize, okay, there is a non-physical world as well. And you start to identify with the space you occupy, the space around you as part of yourself too. So it's not like you lose yourself. You're like, oh, who am I? And you start crying. It's that you start to get a more expanded sense of self via identification or alignment with other parts of yourself, with your etheric body, your energy body, with consciousness itself. So the energy body is like the layer of sensory experience, which is why it's tense or sense, meaning the physical body has sensation, physical sensation, and the energy body has sense. It's space, frequency, you'd call it, or energy. And as you start to attune with it and pay attention to it, it becomes more aware in your experience of life. So that's the etheric body, the energy body, which relates to power in the sense that you learn to be able to direct your energy, to be able to become more present so you can direct not only your energy, but also your mass. So from a martial standpoint, your ability to sense yourself in space, both on a sense level, so space and energy, and material level, mass and force, your ability to sense and have sensation allows you to direct your mass more precisely. So this links to power generation tremendously. But the key detail here is that we're wanting to attune our energy body with our spiritual intent. So that your space, it's like every cell or every particle of your experience starts to co-vibrate with spiritual intention, so that you start to become like a conduit for lovingness. Anyone who has heard of Saint Francis of Assisi, he has a prayer where he says, "Lord, make me a channel of your peace." Right? Something like this. You're letting yourself become a channel or an alignment or connected to or a radio receiver for the higher fields of power. Attunement with the energy body facilitates this process. So that's why we're actually going into this piece. So if this is making sense and I haven't completely baffled you, drop me a 1 in the chat. I'd say thumbs up, but a lot of people have their screen off. Oh, there we go. I can see maybe a thumbs up or a 1. Either way, then I know you're on the same page. Thanks, Mandy. Nice one, Lee. Good. Hey, Basilas is with me. Very good, very good. Red man. All right, awesome. Rock and roll. We're on the same page. So let's get a little practical with it. So we're going to do a simple exercise now. The fields of force, they lead to tension, stress, restriction. So there's like a compression in the fields of force. And like often when people come with very stressful or tense jobs, they are often come with their shoulders kind of tight and their neck hunched, like they have this kind of tightness and compression around themselves, which is exactly what happens when you're kind of going into the fields of force. Your body kind of contracts rather than expands. So we're going to do a very simple exercise where we start to pull the arms, legs, and the torso in towards the spine as you tense the muscles up. And then we're going to just release that out as a way to start to just observe the sensation of tension versus release. Now, don't do this like a crazy person and tense yourself up tremendously. It's just like a subtle tensing into the body and a subtle releasing, because we don't want to go too hardcore with the tension. So let's give that a go. T, do you mind turning the lights off? We don't need them anymore. So sit comfortably and just be aware of your body and space. Now, as you sit there, start to pull the arms, the legs, the torso in towards the spine, like you're kind of tensing into yourself, and then release. calm breaths. Now pulling in and tensing in towards the spine, feeling the body tensing up, and then release. Once again, pulling the body in towards the spine, like you're kind of wrapping the muscles towards the spine. And then breathing out now and release. Now, we're not going to tense and release anymore. Just breathe calmly and rhythmically. And each time you breathe out now, I want you to take deep breaths into the belly. And as you breathe out, I just want you to bring to your mind release. Breathing in, sense of ease. Breathing out, release. And as you release, I want you to attune with that sense of expansion. Just observe the feeling of releasing the physical body. And we're just going to continue on now with the next part of this exercise, which is attuning with the energy body. So you have a physical body and you have an energetic body. Place your focus now in your feet. Sense the soles, the toes. Sense the whole of both of your feet. Sense the space around them. As you slowly move up through the calves and shins and into your knees. Continue to move your awareness through the thighs and into the hips. Up through the belly, the back, into the chest. Into the shoulders and arms, forearms and hands. Into the neck and head. Sense now the whole space you occupy. Calm, gentle breaths. And as you rest your focus on the sensing, bring your spiritual intention to mind. Observe how it influences the energy in your system. And now expand the sensing to the space around you, in front of you and behind you, on your left and right, beneath you and above you. So we're sensing into the aura. Taking calm, peaceful breaths. Resting in the sensing of your energy body, in alignment with your spiritual intent. Feel it. Remember this condition. Aware of your energy body. Bring your awareness back to the room you're in. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Good. So the energy body is important to develop this alignment with it because it's the indicator. It helps you to be conscious of your emotional condition moment to moment, because simply a way of thinking of it is consciousness through the mind, through the emotion, to the energy, to the body. So as the emotional center activates, which we're going to get to in a moment, you experience that through the energy body. So you get the feeling quality there. And then from a martial standpoint of power, you can direct that flow through the center to an opponent for martial power. Or just in life, it's about maintaining that sense of alignment so that you operate from a state of power. Good. If you're enjoying this workshop and you want assistance going deeper into these teachings, if you want me to help you implement this into your training and your life, then I do take a small number of students into my private training academy each month. I do about 5 to 8 calls per week to see who's the right fit. There'll be a link somewhere on this page, probably below. Click a link and see if you can find a slot to book a private assessment with me, and we'll see if we're the right fit. Peace. So moving ahead, team, it's once again decision time. Choose. Do you want to allow tension in your system? Do you want to be tense, or do you want to align with the non-physical, the sense? So, this is often a saying we use in our training, don't tense, sense, because that facilitates the alignment with spiritual intent, but also release. So drop it. It looks like people have already made their choices. Very good. Make your choice now. Choose tense or sense. It's up to you. Old way is tense. New way is sense. It's your choice. And if you want to be tense, no judgment. That's fine. Drop some senses in there or some tenses. I don't mind. All right. Sense, 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 sense. Very good. Very good. Excellent. This is about expansion of self and identification with deeper levels of yourself. I had no idea we had an energy body or a mental body or a consciousness. I was just wandering around basically asleep. But as you start to become conscious of these things, you start to gain a level of freedom, joy, and expression of your potential in that you would never have imagined. Like I wouldn't have thought that I'd have, a Kung Fu school, or I'd have, tens of thousands of people that want to learn with me. And I have 5 beautiful kids and a wife. I thought I was just going to be, a criminal. But through understanding deeper levels of myself, everything transformed. So I'm glad you guys chose sense. Wonderful. Let us move forward. So to the next topic is think or feel. Now we're going into the next layers, right? So essentially the infusion of the spirit, which I first kind of heard about through my Kung Fu master, which is infusing the higher fields of consciousness into the mind, the emotions, the energy, the chi, the energy body, and the physical body, is about getting the attention and intention in alignment with that field of power so it can infuse into your system. So you operate from the fields of power. That's the thing, guys, is that we're all already operating from consciousness. That's a given. In the same way you're moving with the physical body, which is led via thought, the thought is influenced via the consciousness. So you think of it, remember we spoke about radio stations, right? Another way to think about consciousness itself is like an ocean, right? You have an ocean. And in that ocean, in different areas in the ocean, you have different types of sea life. Turtles here, lobsters there, koi fish here, or different fish and whales here and whatever you've got, right? And attuning with the different levels is like being in different areas of the ocean, which different sea life arise from. The thoughts, the emotions are the different sea creatures, the different types of fish and Loch Ness monster or whatever it might be. And wherever you are in that ocean will determine the type of fish that arise. So thoughts and emotions are less personal, they're more impersonal according to your level of consciousness. So if you're swimming in the area of the ocean that is a loving part of the ocean, you will have loving thoughts. If you're swimming in the part of the ocean via your attention and intention of pride, you will have prideful thoughts. If you're in the fear area, fearful thoughts, fearful fish, so to speak. So this becomes a game of intention, attention, and alignment. And how? Via the higher bodies. So let's get a bit more practical. So the higher bodies are the ones, there it is, there's my mouse. The higher bodies you can see over here. We have our mental body, which is the golden body, the emotional body, the rose body, the energy body, the blue one. So these are, and then your physical body, which links to these. And these are all linked to what the Hindus would call chakras or energetic centers. You have your physical, which is connected to the energy body. You have your emotional and mental. So if you imagine, we can have to imagine, you see these 3 circles here, you can see that this is essentially how it's laid out. So mental, emotional, physical, as the actual center of energy linked to that body. Now, a practical example of this is when you dream. So who here has had a dream before in their life? If you have dreamt before, drop me a D for dream in the chat, please. D, yes, we've had one person that's dreamt. The rest of you are, 4, 5. Okay, everyone's had a dream before. Congratulations. Hey, look at all these dreamers. You guys are awesome. So why do I ask you that? Usually lucid, awesome. Because that is the higher bodies. It's not your physical body when you dream, right? We can agree that your physical body isn't off in the past or in the future in some random place, right? It's your non-physical bodies. In the teachings that I learned in Cyprus, they'd call it your psychonoetical body, which is like a combination of the mental and psychic body. So essentially it's these bodies here. And anyone who's had an out-of-body experience can tell you that, the truth of that, or even a near-death experience, that they're still existing without the physical body, which is what happens in the dream world. You're experiencing something without the physical body being there. So this is a way of, knowing, there is a non-physical part to myself. And another way to think of it simply is, I have thoughts and I have emotions. We can all agree that we have thoughts and emotions. Yes, we're not in disagreement there. So that allows you to know you have these higher bodies. Now, moving forward, essentially, one of the massive roadblocks is what is commonly spoken about as the ego, right? And to make it very clear and easy to understand, which Dr. Hawkins made this very clear to me when I first found his teachings back in 2014, was he said, the mind is the ego. And I was like, what? The mind is the ego? But aren't I my mind? And when you think of this in the context of consciousness, right, you realize that the thoughts are coming up from the field of consciousness itself. Remember, if you're in a loving consciousness, loving thoughts come. If you're in a fearful consciousness, fearful thoughts come. So essentially, the mind is a tool to be utilized. It's not who we are. You are not your mind, and neither am I. The mind essentially is the ego. And that's a bit of a tricky one to grasp or to believe, because we value our thoughts so much, meaning we put an I and a mine in front of it. Like, this is my thought, so it's important. So The way to kind of circumvent this is to change the interest in identification. So as we move forward, meaning you start, rather than identifying with the physical body, which we spoke about before, rather than identifying with thoughts as I am this thought, and we've all been there, right? You know, when you get caught in a loop, or maybe you're ruminating over something and then you feel shit and then you think about it and you try to figure out the problem with the mind, and then you loop yourself through it and you're using force to create counterforce and you find resistance and you get it, right? It's like a rumination. The identification with the thinking itself is what creates and leads us back into tension. So what we want to start to identify with is something simpler. You can take a step back into sensing. So you identify with just the space, or you can identify with the field. You could say consciousness itself via the feeling quality. So remember when we go back, go back a moment to when you were thinking about your spiritual intention, you're aligning with that feeling, and you start to identify with that feeling quality, which is like your indicator of your level of consciousness at the moment. So you've got your etheric body, your energy body, you've got your feeling quality, and then rather than using the thinking and the thoughts as self, you use the attention layer of the mind. So your attention goes to the observer, witness, consciousness. So sensing instead of tension and physical, feeling quality as opposed to thinking quality, which is usually looping into a forceful cause and effect mindset, to observing and feeling quality. So what I'm getting at is you shift your identification. You start to be, it's like this. Imagine you're watching yourself sitting there right now. Imagine you're in the corner of the room looking at yourself. And that observer or witness part of yourself is always there. It's just most of the time we're not aware of it or aligned with it. The deeper you enter into state, the deeper you practice one's spiritual intent, the less attached you become to physical sensation. Not that you're unaware of it, it's that you're not so attached to it. And further, you get less caught up in thinkingness. So thoughts and emotions are more like watching, clouds or cars, as opposed to a sense of I with the thought. Another way to describe this is that it's like, at first you'll hear a whole story running in your head. I've got to do this and that, and this person expects this of me, and there'll be a whole story playing in your mind. And then as you start to identify with the feeling quality to the field, it goes from a story to a sentence. It's important that I do this. And then as you identify more so with the feeling in the field, it becomes even less. It becomes a word. It's important. And then as you start to identify even further with it, it becomes it's. And then as you continue to align with the feeling and the observer, then it becomes it, a sound. And then eventually it's just like you're not connected to it at all. It's like watching a television show or listening to a song. You are aware it's there, but you don't identify it as yourself. It's just a radio station. Now, why is that? Like, some people freak out when they hear this. They go, but if I don't think, who am I? Where? The same as you always were. Except now you're not identified with stupid shit. So you're the same as you always were, but you're more powerful. Why? Because you're tuning with deeper levels of yourself. And even in, I think, recent kind of psychology and even just, personal development, they're saying the greater achievers are the ones that can use metacognition or meta thinking, meaning thinking about their thinking. And a greater layer to that is to just be observant of oneself. This ties back to my initial story when I told you I studied those Gurdjieff teachings, right? That Armenian Greek philosopher, and I did that walk and I felt that sense of oneness and connection, and my sense of self had expanded. In that he would always tell us, always observe yourself. always remember yourself. So why is that important? Through observation and the feeling quality, you start to link to the higher fields of consciousness, allowing that flow of power to come through you more naturally. So the game becomes is how do I identify with the field through the feeling? It's kind of cool, right? Because field has feel in it. Feel through the, and look, if you don't want to listen to me, then I think the simplest way is to listen to Uncle Bruce. Uncle Bruce. Everyone knows Uncle Bruce here, yeah? I think we can all say we know Uncle Bruce. And he would say, don't think, feel, right? I'm sure you all remember that scene. It's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't focus on the finger, or you'll miss all the heavenly glory. I think a couple of you were like mouthing that with me. That was awesome. So, all righty. I'm going to share my screen again. Boop, boop, boop. So, think or feel. I think we get the idea. If you are following me and this is making sense that we want to use the feeling quality as a way to link to the field, which activates like an observer quality and we're less identified with thinkingness. If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up or a 1 in the chat if you got no screen. All right. All right. Good, good. I see some thumbs. That's a good sign. Awesomeness. Awesome source. Cool. So that's the kind of the theory part of it, you know, expanding one's sense of identification with sensing and non-physical, with the feeling quality, which links us to the field because the emotions are the indicator of our level. As you can observe on, where are we? On the El Mapo, there's an emotional quality that comes with each level. So if we're in shame, we're feeling humiliated. If we are in guilt, we're feeling a sense of regret emotionally. If we're in anger, we feel hatred. If we're in pride, we feel a sense of scorn. How dare they? If you're encouraged, affirmation, willingness, optimism, love, reverence, joy, serenity, so on and so forth. So what does that mean? That means we have been blessed with another free tool called the Heart Center. Essentially, the state, the infusion of the spirit is the activation of the heart. It's a connecting of the heart through the mind to the field of consciousness. And moment to moment, you are aware of that via the feeling quality. So, moving forward, we want to do our state practice and go about our life being conscious of the activation of the heart center. And we'll do a practical exercise with that now. We'll do them as separate exercises, but so we'll do a spirit heart infusion exercise, meaning how do we bring that into basically from the mind, intent, spirit connected into the heart center, and then expanding that into the psychic body or the emotional body. We'll do that now. And then further, how does it feel when we're in movement? Time-wise, we might not do the movement one, but we'll see. So get yourself comfortable. I'm just going to do a short exercise. Take some deep breaths. Calm down the mind and relax the body. And once again, bring your focus to your highest intention, your spiritual intention. Now, this time as you bring your focus to that feeling quality, expand your awareness into the field, the space around you, the room, your town, your country, the world, space, softly focused on the feeling quality and the field around you. Like a silent witness, observer. Like an infinite ocean. Now, tune to the feeling. Allow yourself to enter into this feeling quality. Calm, centered breaths. Now imagine a golden light radiating in the center of the chest. Sense its space. Feel its energy. This golden radiant light vibrates and shines in perfect harmony with your spiritual intention. Feel it. See it now becoming brighter, like a radiant sun in the chest. See it shining into the neck and the head, into the shoulders, the belly, into the arms, forearms, and hands, to the hips, thighs, the knees, calves, shins, and feet. See yourself as a bright, golden body of light. Feel the elevated emotion. As you infuse the spirit in to the higher bodies. Feel it. The emotional quality is the indicator. With each breath you take, go deeper into this state, seeing this golden light body becoming brighter and brighter. Now expand this light into the aura, like a shell of golden light shining within and around you. And now continue to see this light expanding into the room, covering your town, expanding throughout your country. See the whole earth covered in this radiant golden light, expanding into space. Feel it. Bring the awareness back into the space the physical body occupies. Once again, attuning with the feeling quality of your spiritual intention. The feeling to the field, observing, witnessing. Bring the focus back. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Alrighty, take a minute to write down your experience. So with the Spirit Heart Infusion exercise, just write down anything you noticed or observed. It's good to write it down because it'll help you remember as you reflect on this over the month through these exercises and remind you of access points. Because essentially we are changing and evolving our habits, our habitual identifications with the tensing as opposed to sensing, or the thinking as opposed to the field. So just take some notes down in simple terms in your own, whether it's a drawing or words or whatever it might be. And what we'll do now is in regards to the movement exercise, essentially you want to stay in that feeling quality as you practice your forms, right? Your forms or your shadow boxing or your running or whatever your movement sequence is that you're developing power in. So we're running low shit. Nearly 2 hours already. And we're running low on time, so I'm not going to go into, we've still got another topic to touch on, so I won't go into that exercise. You can just do it at your own leisure. Yeah, I won't share observation. Oh, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So 5 minutes of observations, just quickly, because it's always good to connect with the community. Share your observations. Stop sharing. So do 5 minutes of observation sharing, and then we'll come back for our next topic. All right, let's have a look. All right, jump in. Jump into your room, share your observations, then we'll come back for some more training, team.
Yeah, good, Yeah. That's it.
Jump into your rooms, guys. There was a
That's
problem
better,
with
isn't
the.
it?
Welcome back, team. Thomas, welcome. Better late than never. Good to see you. All righty. Let's keep moving forward. Here we are. Brilliant. All righty. So we've gone through a few bits and pieces. Now, our next decision is, are we going to identify with thinkingness or feelingness? It's not to say that your thoughts aren't important or irrelevant. It's just about identification with the deeper level of self. Majority of us are overly identified with thought and physicality, and the heart center is kind of asleep. The activation of the heart center helps you connect to the field itself. So make your choice. Drop it in the chat. Are you going to work from thought or feeling? And once again, the thoughts are still there. It's just about activation of the heart center. And it's your choice. Once again, it's no judgment. You choose what feels right for you. My suggestion is to activate the feeling quality, but, you know, drop it in the chats and let me know your decision. Yeah. Reminds me of that. What's that show? He says, like, works 50% of the time, every time. Alrighty, feel rock and roll. Yes. You know, consciously making that choice to awaken the heart center is massive, because it becomes your constant reminder and indicator of your degree of alignment with the field. And it's not that your thoughts turn off, they still run. Like, this thoughts are still there. It's just the quality of the thoughts actually increases, because you're now coming from more than just one center, meaning you're not just head centered only, you're heart and head centered. So it's actually heart, head, and body also, if you're going from sense to feel, because thoughts are automated. You don't have to worry about those. Remember, it's like the area of the ocean you're in, or the radio station that you are attuned with. If you're enjoying this workshop and you want assistance going deeper into these teachings, if you want me to help you implement this into your training and your life, then I do take a small number of students into my private training academy each month. I do about 5 to 8 calls per week to see who's the right fit. There'll be a link somewhere on this page, probably below. Click a link and see if you can find a slot to book a private assessment with me, and we'll see if we're the right fit. Peace. Cool. Let's move forward. Now, the next component for our workshop today is looking at achievement versus alignment. So what I've come to realize through the training of the state and of internal Kung Fu is that it's all already there. Meaning, you know, the way I kind of first came to it was like, I wanted to achieve the state. I wanted to, you know, master energy and the mind force that my teacher is teaching me. But over time and reflection and teaching over the last few decades, you come to realize that it's all already there. And if you can really think of this simply, I mentioned it earlier, you know, we can all agree that we have a spine, yes. We can all agree that we have a body, yes. We all have a mind, yeah. We all have emotion, okay, great. We're a part of the field of conscious, okay, cool. What I mean is all the bits and pieces are already there. And the process that I went through and what I observed people go through, and Dr. Hawkins talks about this. For those of you who are newer and haven't really gone into the Dr. Hawkins teachings, he was a psychiatrist and spiritual teacher who mapped out that map of consciousness we've been looking at, and wrote the book Power versus Force and Letting Go. A tremendous advancement in human knowledge and understanding, where he mapped out the levels of consciousness via kinesiology. So using kinesiology, the power of energy in our own system, and testing and mapping out the levels. So coming back to it, do, have, be is kind of the sequence people tend to go through, meaning you're focused on doing and achieving, which is very much my own journey. I wanted to do and achieve the state to be powerful. And this is kind of like, you can think of it in terms of in life, like what does one do in the world? Like, what do you do? And then it moves to more so like, sorry, it's the other way. So it's have, do, be. I got the order wrong there. What you have, yeah? So, you know, the things that you own or possess or what you have achieved. But then ultimately it moves towards being. So the way you be, how you are in the world, which is essentially your degree of alignment with your field, the spiritual intention. So what it becomes more of alignment with and identification with. We've touched on identification already a couple times in the past few topics, but the game becomes identifying with your spiritual intention. So that sense of lovingness, that sense of connection, wholeness, which is truly the source of power. Remember, my master was just constantly joyful and loving and wise all the time, which is why he had that power. It's about identifying with that part of yourself, which is already there. This isn't something you achieve or get. You're not grabbing power or grabbing love or getting freedom. It's already within. It's about alignment with that part of self. Now, another concept which will help you kind of grasp this is shifting from linear to non-linear. So the mind thinks in linear terms, right? And there's a simple diagram that you can use to see. Where is it? Is ABC, you know? A causes B causes C, a linear sequence of events. Now, this is useful in regards to learning. So as we start to learn the state, we learn, okay, I want to align with spiritual intention. I want to bring that in my center. I want to expand that into the sensing energy. I want to sync and move the energy through my system. I want to start to surrender all the emotional and mental blocks. And then I want to see the spirit be infused into my whole space and target that precisely. So linear sequencing is useful in learning, right? But ultimately, there's a step beyond that. So we go from linear to non-linear. Non-linear is what the state is. It's just a way of being. It's not a process or a cause and effect piece. And what that looks like is this. So as opposed to A causes B causes C, it's ABC, meaning this is the actual underlying cause, as opposed. So the ABC is like the field of consciousness. The A causes B causes C is what happens because of it. So we come back a step to speaking about the loving person and the hateful person. One kicked the person on the ground and the other one helped them. That's the field. The ABC is this. The ABC is the field itself, your spiritual intent, your highest intent. Your degree of alignment leads to the actions. And that kind of, if the guys have been around for a while will often hear me say, you can't do anything. And that used to boggle me. But it really means that physical actions come from your level of consciousness. They come from spirit through mind, through emotion to body. Doing is the illusion. Being is the way things are. Now, this can get a little complicated if it's the first time you hear it, but it's actually pretty simple. So I'll give one example. And this is an example Hawkins gives. So if I blow some dust away, right? You could say, I caused that dust to be blown away by a breathing, right? My breath moved that dust away. A caused B caused C. However, me being in this situation with you, the gravity, the barometric pressure, this building being built, the dust coming off somebody's skin earlier to be there, all of these other factors had to be in play for this exact moment to happen. So rather than it being cause and effect in the observable material world, it's what we'd call spontaneous emergence of potential. So you've got spontaneous emergence as nonlinear, and you've got cause and effect as linear. Neither's, let's just say they're levels of truth, meaning cause and effect operates up to 499. So it's the observable material world. Once you hit 500 and above, so love towards enlightenment, this is more spontaneous emergence becomes the way of experiencing life. So let's make this a little, give another example. So within a seed, you have a potential, right? You have an orange seed or an apple seed with potential within it. And if that seed is put into the right circumstance, then it will grow into a tree. So the potential within oneself will grow according to the conditions. So because of these conditions of us being here, I'm saying the shit that I'm saying. If I was not in these conditions, I wouldn't be saying it. So what am I getting at? Spontaneous emergence is and entering into the non-linear part of oneself, which is more alignment with your potential and alignment with the field, as opposed to achieving. It's not like I'm achieving this workshop. I'm achieving it. I achieved the workshop. It is one's potential manifesting moment to moment. Now, this one can be, let's make it even simpler. Your inner potential manifests according to the situation and the level of consciousness you're linked to. So you could be in this, you could be sitting there feeling loving and you're just sitting there in a nice loving feeling, right? You could be sitting there in a hateful feeling and who knows how things would change. Would you be sitting there? Would you walk away? So ultimately, life is nonlinear, but we observe things physically in a linear sequence. And you can say, okay, are there other areas that's true? Yes. So think about your dream world, right? Or even right now. You can go back to your childhood house in your bedroom right now. And then you can go to France and be at the Eiffel Tower. And then you can go to Thailand and be on the beach meditating. And now you can go to the kitchen and get something from the fridge. So in the non-physical worlds, there is a non-linear dimension to it. In the physical world, things are observed in a linear way. Now, why is that important? Because we can identify with the non-linear. We can identify with space, with the field itself, which is power. The field is the power. Without consciousness, you would not be here living and experiencing as we are right now. The whole idea is that the intent, spiritual intention, the mind links to the field of consciousness, spirit, so that we're attuned with the source of power itself, which is a non-linear field of power, which is expressed through us as human. Pretty cool, right? I know some of these concepts might be a bit new or wild for some of you, but if you are following me, give me a 1 in the chat, team. Give me a 1 if you are following what I'm talking about, or if you think I'm a crazy person, you can write crazy as well. I don't mind. 0.99. She's in the space and not physical. That's a good equation. I love that, Mandy. Crazy one. All righty, let's get back to the workbook. So I just want you to be aware of the idea of linear versus non-linear, because the feeling of the observer, the feeling of the field isn't so cause and effect. It's more alignment with that which already is. If you come from a perspective of linear sequencing, then you're going to be in this mindset of I have to achieve alignment. I have to achieve. You can think of it this way. When you go to your spiritual intention, right, and you think of that, you can use that person, place, or thing which gives you a good feeling quality. It's not that you achieved that feeling quality, it's that you're more grateful that you are receiving it. So your mind goes from achievement to gratitude because you're grateful that you can experience that. Let me put it another way. Did you create that feeling? Meaning, did you create the universe and decide the level of consciousness and say, oh, yes, okay. So let's look at it from that standpoint. So I don't know, which one of you created these fields of consciousness? So at the level of gratitude and lovingness, right? Let's say, okay, we have a nice sense of gratitude and a loving feeling. We can all agree, I believe, that we didn't create consciousness. I mean, I don't remember doing it. So what am I saying? As you enter into the state, as you enter into power, it's a gratitude for the state as opposed to a feeling of pride and achievement for entering into it. Now, if that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't, we'll keep going with it because this is an important one. All right, we got one. Anyone else?
Andy.
We got thumbs. We got thumbs. Okay, we got a few that are half. That's fine. So let me put it another way. It's like life, right? Being alive. It's like a gift almost, in the sense that if we can move out of the concept of I am doing this to achieve this, then it becomes much easier to enter into, because it's not a sequence that you must go through in order to enter into it. It's a frequency to be aligned with, that we can be grateful that we have access to. So it's like, oh, I'm grateful I have a center. Like you don't achieve your center. Your center's already there. And you're grateful that you can actually put your focus on it. Oh, I'm so grateful I have a spine. It helps me move around. So this is the point, that we want to enter into a mindset of alignment, a mindset of allowing as opposed to achieving or doing, because the achieving, doing, linear sequencing makes it loops us back and forth out of it via the power of the mind. Meaning, let's say you're feeling a really good sense of state, you're feeling released, you're feeling loving, you're feeling powerful. Okay, great. But then your mind says, okay, how did I achieve that? Then you start to go into this sequence of steps. Oh, first I have to do this, and then this, and then that sequence takes you out of it because your focus is out of it. So what we do is we point our attention to the next point, which is the feeling quality. You prioritize the feeling quality as the indicator of the degree of alignment with the nonlinear domain, with the consciousness, with the spiritual intent. So the mind focused on the spirit or the field of consciousness itself. So moment to moment to moment to moment throughout your day, you're prioritizing the feeling quality that you are in. And the cool thing is that will determine the type of energy you bring to a situation. Now, I know a lot of people in here want to be the best they can be, not only for themselves, but also for their family, their friends, their colleagues, aka to lead by example. So alignment with the feeling quality is the primary indicator of your level. So essentially, we want to switch our focus to I'm achieving this, I'm achieving that, to I'm aligning with the field, and in doing so, one's own potential. Meaning, as I've observed, as you stay in a more loving, peaceful, powerful energy, naturally your potential manifests. Naturally, the toast gets cooked perfectly. And then we've all had that moment, right? Where, you're in a shit energy, you're pissed off, and then shit just gets worse, right? Like you're stressed out, you're pissed off, and then someone runs into your car. Right? So, or you drop the milk on the floor or whatever it is. So prioritizing feeling, activating the heart center, is the number one indicator of your degree of alignment with the source of power. That's how you can know moment to moment to moment. So on that note, let's play around with that with an exercise. And then we'll move into Q&A. We've run over with the lesson. If anyone has to bounce, feel free to. I will not be offended. Get yourself comfortable. Take some deep breaths. We're just going to do a kind of relative comparison, meaning this meditation, we're going to go through two different pieces. So firstly, focus on the physical sensation of the body, the density of the matter of the legs, belly, chest, arms, and head. Be aware of the sensation, the physical. It's not wrong nor right, it just is the physical body. Now, place the focus around the body, in front of you, behind you, underneath you, above you. And now softly focus on the space you occupy, so the sensing. Using the attention to align with the space. Now, use your attention to be aware of your thinkingness. Think about what you have to do later today. Think about your to-do list. Go through any processes you need to. Aligned with thinking. It's not wrong nor right, it just has its function. Now, bring your focus to the heart center, the area of the chest. And bring your spiritual intention into focus. You may be able to access this feeling quality instantly, or maybe not. Neither is wrong nor right, it's just your experience. Now, deepen that via visualization. Imagine some person, place, some event or experience, something which helps you to feel the emotion of it. Align with that feeling quality. That field of consciousness, that emotional quality is constantly present. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't hide. It's a matter of alignment. The gentle placing of your attention. It's like you're observing this loving, peaceful, powerful field of energy. Breathe it into your heart center. Awaken this expansive frequency of your spiritual intention. Allow this feeling to expand throughout the whole space you occupy. Don't worry if you don't feel it or you notice resistance. That's just blockages that are showing themselves to be released. It's a good thing. Feel it. Now gently expand into the aura once again. In perfect harmony with the spiritual intent. Infusing this feeling quality into the body, energy, emotional body, mental body. It's like you're resting in the ocean of your intention. Make this a priority. Stay in alignment. Sensing the space. aligning, feeling. Choosing power over force. And bring this state with you. Remember it. Slowly bringing your awareness back into the space you're in. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Wonderful. So we can see this lovely little energy body over here on our right side on your workbook. That's the etheric body and the energetic centers. You have the emotional and mental field around it. You see those little pluses and minuses. They're like the links to the fields of power. So power will be the positive, negative will be the force fields. And that's really kind of points of attention, or as for those who've been training for a while would call them elementals or thought forms, but don't worry too much about those. Let's move forward. So time to decide. Are you going to stay in the linear field of achievement? And once again, nothing wrong with that. It's your choice. I'm not your mum. You choose what you want to do. Or are you going to decide to go into alignment? In my personal experience, alignment's much nicer. It's easier, it's more powerful, and shit just flows. I've played too long in the force fields. I think that sounds cool. It's definitely not that cool. So let me know your choice. Drop it in the chat. Achieve or align. Alignment, mummy. Love that. Yeah. Align. Well, you guys have already dropped it in. Look at that. You guys are like psychics. You know what I was going to ask. Love it. So drop in the chat. Are you going to align or are you going to achieve? Are you going to be Captain Force Pants or Captain Power Pants? Choose the pants you wish to wear. Welcome, Greg. Good to see you. And Jace, welcome back. We missed you. So a little quote for us all from good old Socrates, who I think he calibrated at 500 on the map of consciousness, which is interesting. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy on not fighting the old, but on building the new. So as we go from force to power, and from tensing to sensing, and from thinking to feeling, and from achieving to aligning, it's about keeping the focus on those decisions in that direction, as opposed to trying to destroy, I'm going to fight force with force. Then obviously you go in the wrong direction. I'm going to think my way out of thinking. You get the idea. So build the new team, build the new. Now, essentially, where most people begin their journey is somewhere like here in the kind of in the middle. You'll see, okay, I'm going up and down from force to power with the negative thought forms and positive thought forms. But the whole idea of stepping into power is the removal of the negatives by stepping into power fully. So you go from up and down, and this is a part of the journey. It's not to say that you won't have negative emotions and feelings. It's just that you won't let them drain you and pull you down into force. You'll maintain an upward trajectory via your point of focus, via alignment, via power, via sensing, via feeling the field. Yeah. Feel the feel, All right. And so stepping into this space here, allowing yourself to raise your baseline. Now, moving forward in regards to embodiment, we've got a few for this month. So this month's focus is spiritual intent. This is going to be such a ripper of a month for everyone. Like the first time I made a pure focus to focus on spiritual intent is when I was like, I'm just going to stay focused on spiritual intent. The first time I consciously did it was when I actually got this room I'm sitting in. I had read for the second time this book called Success is for You, written funnily enough by Dr. Hawkins. Dr. David Hawkins wrote a book on success, and it's wildly different to every book on success you'll ever read. And essentially, I don't want to ruin it, but I already have, in the sense that it's all about staying in alignment with spiritual intention. So this image, oh, there is it. This image that I shared with you earlier, the field ABC, the attractor patterns, the field of consciousness, and then causality, A causes B causes C. He's like, take yourself out of here, stop trying to do everything and force life, and live up here. That was a terrible circle, but you get the idea. So what does that mean? That means to prioritize that feeling quality of your spiritual intention and live life from that space. What I did is that I made the decision, I'm just going to stay in an unconditionally loving feeling as best as possible. I wanted a nice open space with signage and parking and extra rooms for my office and a shower, and in the center of Willoughby I want it to be a great location. I want it to be affordable. I want no pillars in the place. I just stayed in a loving feeling, and I let go of all the force around that, trying to achieve it. And then literally within 3 days, this place became available. It was an old martial arts school. 6 people were here and we're all looking at it. All of us applied and it came to me. Thank you. And I credit that to staying in alignment with my spiritual intention, because the other people that applied, they were like reputable businesses that have been around for decades. So I'm like, why the balls did I get it? And I truly believe it was because of my degree of alignment with spiritual intent. I just stayed as best as I could in unconditional love. And voila. So if we go down to my suggestion for this month's reading, if you have not read Success Is For You by Dr. David Hawkins, I'd suggest you do. It's a ripper of a book, and it's all about staying in alignment with spiritual intent. If you've read that, drop a yes in the chat. I want to see if anyone's actually read that, because it's actually a quiet, it's a sleeper, that one, you know. Has anyone read it? iPhone has. I mean, Charles, I'm joking. Dr. Sparkles has. Okay, good. So a few of you haven't. Okay, great. Trust me, guys. It can seem repetitive, but it's such a good book. It's so good. He gives you all these different ways to stay in alignment, and he gives you all these different stories, and he weaves it in. He's a master teacher. In my opinion, he was enlightened. If you have already read that, or if you want some, and if you're a fast reader, then Power versus Force is another good one to listen to, because it gives you the full contextual understanding of the map of consciousness and how that applies to all areas of life. Bonus book, if you want an extra bonus, is Truth versus Falsehood by the same author. Good. Now, moving back up to the top, we already all chose our power, right? You chose your power. That is your superpower this month, right? So that's your focus. Now, next piece, you've probably already chosen your image. Yeah, if you've already chosen your image, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, meaning what I mean is, did you think of something which links to that power? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, no? If you haven't, then write one down. Okay, good. A lot of thumbs there. Love it. So choose your power, choose your image, and now choose your mantra, meaning something you can repeat to yourself throughout this month to remind you of your spiritual intent. For example, I am loving, or I am peaceful, or simple things are free and easy. Like, it can be anything, something that reminds you of your spiritual intent. If you find, sometimes when people use mantras like I am loving, often what may happen is they notice resistance come up, like a natural resistance to the belief that they are loving, let's say. So what you can do, if that's the case for you, is you can ask yourself the question, why am I loving? That tends to circumvent that problem. So you say, why am I loving? And then the mind comes up with reasons to why you're loving. So why am I peaceful? Or why am I prosperous? Or why am I free? As opposed to I am free. You get the idea. So choose your mantra. And my suggestion is that you crank on that bad boy 5 times 5 a day with a sense of ease and flow, meaning when you wake up, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and when you go to bed. So 5 times 5 a day, repeat that mantra to remind you to stay in alignment. Because essentially the game this month is about raising your bar, raising your baseline, getting you into the higher fields of consciousness consistently and regularly so that your baseline changes. And I've had hundreds of people notice that shift by applying this. Now, my other suggestion is to do your state training daily. There's in the classroom, you'll find videos for state training there, and also to do your daily video. There it is, your June body. We can go here. So your daily video as well, meaning in the classroom section under spiritual intention, go through a video per day there just to keep the ideas flowing. And look, these are all suggestions. You do as many as you like. The more you do, the more you immerse yourself, the deeper you will recondition your mind, body, and energy to stay in alignment. Right? So these are just suggestions to get into your rhythm. The daily video, once again, is in the classroom under spiritual intention, and there'll be some more videos loaded to that throughout this month. So I'm going to be adding some more videos for you guys to practice as well. My last suggestion is to stop being a little bitch. No, I'm kidding. Is to stop complaining, which is being a little bitch. Complaint drops you into victim. It drops you into force. It's like a stupid, easy ass access point, and it's so common. So when you're in that group of people and they're complaining about the weather and about too much salt in the food and how their wife doesn't love them enough or whatever, just do not engage. Choose to disengage and stay in your power. Yeah, so no complaint, internally and externally. If you complain, then, I'm going to send, I'll send Jason to your house to beat you up. Is that cool, Jace? Yeah. And Tej will come as well. He'll come beat you up. He'll bring his nunchucks. Yeah. Yeah, so beware. If you see Jason Tej running at you randomly, you'll know why, because you've been a little bitch. Don't do it. All right, the enforcers. Okie dokie. So, alrighty, what do we got? What drop in the chats in the chat. Just drop in on your page or in the chat section what the best things from our workshop today, or any roadblocks you might see, and then we'll move into Q&A. What were the best things today? Mandy's got a nice picture there. The enforcers of power. 1 second, I'm going to stop sharing. Hang on. Can you keep that there, Mandy, for a second? I want to pin that. There we go. Well, Mandy always does a lovely artwork for us during our things. Think intention, practice intention, be it. Love it. Oh, you got the crew there. Awesome. Alrighty, so what do we got? Nothing? You guys have no observations or best things from today? Come on. So much depth. Good. Lex likes the depth. Enforcers of power. Success is happiness. Success. The capacity for success resides within everyone. Success is like happiness. So much depth. I can choose at any moment. Yes, you can. Think intention, practice intention, be intention. Yes, 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 yes. Very good. Alrighty. So for the last 25 minutes or so, we have some time for questions if we have any. So if you have any questions, there's only a few of us here, so just unmute yourself and then ask away. Don't be shy. We're all friends here.
No, he's gonna come beat me up.
Was that a question, Mandy, or?
Well, I says I don't know if I'm gonna be friends if you're gonna be sending what's his name to beat me up. Oh, thank goodness those children have left the room. The noise is gone.
We just chase you down with hugs.
Yeah.
Our hugs,
Well,
our hugs are powerful.
They do that too. It beats all the screaming and the whole destruction. quality of feeling.
So do we have
Can
any
you-
questions, team?
That was my question. Quality of feeling. Can you
Oh,
sum up
sorry.
quality of, sorry, could you sum up quality of feeling?
Feeling quality. Yeah, sure. So feeling quality is your experience of the feeling in the moment. Simply put, it generally should be better, meaning, let's just say you're feeling depressed, let's say someone's feeling a sense of sadness. To move upward into a state of anger feels better because you're more active and expansive. So the kind of key indicator is a better, more expansive feeling quality. So that's the kind of, a simple way to think about it. Ultimately, you want to be feeling like a expansive lovingness, almost like a oneness, like a lack of separation. That's the kind of direction we're going. But to make it very simple for any level we're at, it's very much feeling better, to put it simple, just feeling better. Does that make sense, Mandy?
Yeah, so you take your intention and practice that intention in order to level up for that emergence, you said, of spontaneous emergence, you had said.
Yeah, spontaneous emergence. That's right. Okay, so there's two different topics there. One is feeling quality. So we keep the feeling quality a priority. So, the number one thing is to stay in a good, loving, peaceful, powerful feeling. Like that's because that indicates to you your level and degree of alignment. The way I think about it is like that sense of love, that sense of peace, that sense of power is like the kingdom of God for me. I think, okay, that's where the Christ wants me to be. That's how I look at things because I come through that lens and that's what I follow as a student, right? So staying in that loving, peaceful, powerful quality as the primary, as the directionality. Now, the other piece of spontaneous emergence is just being aware that my actions are coming from my potential and my alignment, as opposed to having to force and make things happen. So I'm not trying to achieve, I'm not trying to make things happen. I'm just being in alignment and letting that happen, letting that flow, so to speak. And that's more the spontaneous emergence piece. Yeah.
Gotcha.
As opposed to focusing on the linear cause and effect. So for example, when I wanted to get this place, this dojo, I could have been like, okay, I'm going to write down all the places I want, and I'm going to go to all the real estate agents and I'm going to hunt them down. But I just stayed in alignment and just kind of went with it. So it's interesting. It's as though it's not to say that you don't have a direction or things that you want in your life. It's just that you don't force them. You stay in a good feeling, you know what you want, and you enjoy the journey. It's like this. It's a simple way of thinking. It's like Mandy and I, we're sitting having a cup of coffee and we say, hey, let's go to the shops. It's a 10-minute walk. So Mandy and I know we're going to go to the shops. We get up and start walking and we enjoy each other's company in a loving feeling on that walk, as opposed to getting the shits that we have to walk, trying to force it's about, that destination is inevitable, right? We know we'll end up at the shops, but how we walk along that journey is more so the important point, as opposed to forcing our way to get there. So it's a very simple kind of approach to life where you're just aligning with the feeling quality and observing. It's like alignment observation, aligning with the feeling quality as you observe your journey, as opposed to getting stuck in overthinking, controlling, forcing an achievement, which is that, the linear sequencing approach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're saying it's your natural state of being.
Exactly. It is our natural state. Yeah. And that's why it doesn't feel good when we're coming from achievement or force, because it's not our natural state. It's a state that's kind of been pushed on us. Achieve, grind, hustle, work, and it's so common. Like you'll start to notice how often people say, oh, you work so hard, you're such a hard worker. But it's like, yeah, nah. In Australia, we say, yeah, nah. It's kind of confusing. Yeah, nah, but it makes sense. Meaning you align with the field of consciousness, because that is the source of power. It's like this. You go to your car, right? And you have no petrol in your car. So you decide, okay, I'm going to put orange juice in the petrol tank. That's what aligning with force is like. As opposed to going and putting petrol in your tank, like the premium delicious petrol, love, peace, freedom, power, you pour orange juice into it. Silly. Thanks, Dr. Sparkles. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yes. So it's a very interesting game because the game becomes what we call an internal game. It's not an external game, it's an internal game. I saw an interesting clip from Dr. Huberman. He's very popular at the moment with his neuroscience information and content. And he said, everything's internal. He's like, everything's internal. He's like, you're running and you win a race. And at the end of the race, it's not like someone drops, dopamine and oxytocin into your ear. It's the perception that you've layered upon finishing the race that activates that dopamine and oxytocin in your system. It's all internal. So you can access love, freedom, joy, peace right now via attention and intention. And via staying in that, that's how the power flows through your system, both for combat and for life. Cool. Next question.
I had a question just regarding the field when I was trying to do the exercise and picturing it. And like I mentioned that in the breakout room was like, what is it supposed to look like? Is it solid or is it more of like, like a mist? And how does that expand
Yep.
beyond myself and into my town and into
Sure. Good question. Like nothing. Meaning it doesn't really matter what it looks like. So it sounds like you kind of learn by a visual, yeah? You're a bit of a visual learner, yeah? By the words you're using. So think of it like this. So you can sense your body in the seat, right? Where you are, or are you sitting down right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So and you can put your focus in front of you into the space in front of you, right?
Yes.
Okay, now put this focus into the space around you.
Hmm.
Okay, that. So
Cool.
yeah, so in regards to what it looks like, it doesn't matter because
Mhm.
your experience of what it looks like could be different to everyone else in the whole universe, right? So perhaps you like to see it as an infinite white place, like in the Matrix when Neo and Morpheus are in there and they're like, guns, lots of guns. And the guns flash and it's just all white. Maybe that's what it's for you. But so what I'm getting is you could use any image as an access point into that because you're you. But ultimately, you're just tuning into think of it this way, another way to look at it or think about it. Radio waves, right? We can agree that there are radio waves around you. You're not in like an isolated area where there's no radio waves, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay, cool. So you could turn on your radio and boom shakalaka, the music's playing, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's radio waves around you, right? So that's kind of another way to think about it. Oh, there's these radio waves all around me. How am I attuning with those radio waves via my attention? So what am I focusing on? So for example, if you focus on something in your life which you don't like or which you have a negative perception to, you're going to be attuning with that radio station of frustration, let's say. Whereas if you put your attention on a loving thought or something which you're very grateful for, you'll be attuning with the radio station or the field of lovingness. So, how you see it, to be precise to your question, is really relevant to you. And there's nothing wrong nor right there. The question becomes does it actually give you access? Does it open up a feeling quality as you place your focus on it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were going to that, were you influencing your emotional quality, your heart center? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that's a good indicator then.
Mm.
So I'd run with whatever you were thinking about if that was getting you into an expansive feeling. And what might happen over time, which I've observed, is that same image may not have the same effect over time. It's like it's become too it's like when you go on a holiday, right? And you get a nice hotel room and the view's stunning for the first couple of days, and then you forget it after the fourth, fifth day.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's fine.
Good.
So then now you use a different thing, right? So the game is to find all the ways that allow you to stay in alignment, which is our game this month. It's spiritual intention is the game we're playing this month, and it's a fun one because watch your life transform. You guys are going to be like, damn, everything just got better. That's right. It will. Does that answer your
Cool.
question, brother?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Yeah, like the vehicle itself will evolve.
Exactly. Exactamundo.
Thank you.
Good question. What else we got, folks?
I have a question, but I don't know if it's too much.
That's right. Far away.
All right. It's the same thing. So you have the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is your intuition. Our intention is to be the fruits of the Spirit. Fruits of the Spirit's anything positive, joy, happiness, kindness for people to. So your connection to the universe, to God, is through the Holy Spirit, and your intuition tells you if you're not in alignment. Your intuition will tell you you're not in alignment with the fruits of the Spirit. You're not in alignment with the universe, with the good, with the high vibes. And that's the basic core concept in that Trinity of Father, Son, Holy Ghost, that Jesus came to leave behind the Holy Spirit when he ascended, and now the Holy Spirit is supposed to be in us. The Holy Spirit in us keeps us connected. So religious side of it, but the bottom line is your intuition and paying attention to your feelings tells you if you're in alignment with the good stuff, which is the fruits of the Spirit: joy, love, happiness, kindness. I forget the others.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Precisely.
so that all integrates to what you're saying.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Whatever lens we use, because like the Hindus would describe it differently, the Buddhists might describe it differently, but it's the same, experience as a human, in that. And to your point, the feeling quality indicates the degree of alignment, and you see so many images of this guy pointing to the indicator. It's the heart center. So many people are walking around with this switched off. It's not turned on. It's like black. And like he's pointing, hey, check this out. And his head center is active as well. Golden aura, wonderful. Yeah, and the nice sky blue etheric body, wonderful. So what am I getting at? Yes, the intuition is active as the heart center opens. So, the intuition is like a connection throughout the field, which is connected to the heart center. And we all have it, and it does activate at times. But the point here is that we want to open up the heart center. And generally speaking, especially for males, it's the most closed. Women tend to be more open in the heart center than men. Men tend to be more head heavy, generally speaking, or body heavy. But the idea here is that through our training, through state training, we activate the center, especially the heart, because the heart's the indicator, but also the connector. Meaning, look, once again, I mentioned it earlier, right? The heart is in between the head and the body. And often this is off, so the body and the head are going in different directions. So the body wants to sleep, it wants to train, it wants to do all the things the body wants to do, and the mind wants to achieve and do this and that. And there's a sense of tension because we're not in a sense of alignment. The heart center brings that all back together, because the feeling quality indicates to you your degree of alignment, so that your mind, your heart, and your body are moving all in the same direction. So, your lens of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit to me is quite precise. The activation of the intuition via the feeling quality. So Awesome sauce. Feeling quality. It's actually so simple. Like, I mean, there's a lot of ideas that we've gone through to give context, right? Because the information can start to change the way you look at things, right? The information is helpful. To the degree that, for example, if you read Dr. Hawkins' first three books, Power versus Force, Eye of the I, and I, if you read those three books, it's been tested that actually raises your level of consciousness just from the information. You start to look at life differently. So the information is helpful, but then when we get practical, it's just be conscious of how you feel moment to moment and make it a priority to uplift that via your attention and via your intention. Align with sensing, align with the observation, the observer, align with the lovingness. Bring your mind to that person, place, or thing which gives you a loving energy within. Good. Nothing is right. It is your own natural expression of the state. Yeah. Yes, there's not really a, thanks, Jason. It's a good point. Yeah, there's no wrong or rightness to it. It's like a false dichotomy. It's just experience. So I mean, it's like even this, like none of these are wrong or right either. They're just like a level of growth and a point of alignment. One feels better than the other, that's for sure. And I know I prefer to stay in power and love and freedom and connection and oneness, but it's not wrong to be in anger and pride. It's just a different experience. Good. What else do we have, team? We have 9 more minutes before I've got to move on to my next thing. Don't be shy.
I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
I'm just thinking, so when you're in the state, how it just feels a bit weird when you're in the state and you're sort of punching someone, or you're then it's like you're inflicting pain while sort of sending love. It just feels really contradictory. And then I was thinking the second question was, in that moment, let's say you get punched, it's like you can quickly just lose the state when you experience pain. So like, how do you get back into it?
Yeah, good question. So there's a couple of ways we'll address that. The first thing is we look at the underlying perception of state. So often state is looked at as from the mindset of achievement that we spoke about before, as opposed to alignment. So if we're thinking of getting back into state or the state's off, then we create a separation from the state and the experience of the state in our own mind. Meaning we are all the state right now already. We have a level of consciousness, we have a center, we have an etheric body, we're already aligned with gravity, syncing, and we have a point of focus. So the state is active. The quality of state is influenced by our point of focus. So if, for example, I'm punching someone, there's 2 points of focus we can observe. There's the punch, and then there's how I perceive the punch as an action. I can look at the punch as an aggressive action of hatred, and then that will shift my state to a lower quality. Or I can look at the punch as an expression of discipline and mastery and helping my training partner to excel in their skill. So the way you perceive the actual action will influence your level of state via the frame you look at the experience from. So you've got the physical reality of what's happening, but then you've got the way you look at it. Does that make sense, Lex?
Yeah, that helps.
The context of how you look at it influences your expression of state. So we take a step back. The first key detail is understanding that you always are the state. The quality fluctuates according to your intention and attention, your alignment with the field of X, Y, Z, and what you're focusing on, which brings you to it. So if I'm focusing on, for example, I see a person walking across the street, and I think, wow, they look like such a loving person. And I start to get a loving quality because I look at them and I think they look like a loving person. Or the same person walks across the street, they're wearing a jumper of this person I hate, and I go, oh, I hate that motherfucker. The person's the same, but my perception of the person is what shifts the quality of energy within my system, the quality of my state. So the first point is you're always in state. You're never out of state. It's just a matter of increasing the quality of power that flows through you in state, right?
Oh,
The second piece is how you layer perception onto striking. It sounds like, and this is quite common. People think, how can I be peaceful if I'm learning to punch? Stay peaceful. But what I mean is that it's observing the tool in the correct way, or in a way which keeps you uplifted. Meaning, I train for discipline, I train for mastery, I train for focus. Learning to defend the ones I love is a skill which is valuable. Expressing my power through this art form and is one way of looking at it, which helps you to stay in power. Further, helping my training partners refine their skill. So often I notice that, especially with new people, they're like, oh, I don't want to punch this person because I just feel bad, but I don't want to throw punches at them. But is your training partner going to develop skill if you don't actually put pressure on them? You know what I mean? So it's how you look at it. And then further, if you take it to the extreme of actually using violence as a tool, it's the context. Meaning, if you were with your mother, father, and loved ones, right, and someone was trying to kill them, you could use your skill of your tool of violence as a loving tool to protect them. I would 100,000% protect my family with violence out of the love for them, not out of the hatred and wanting to kill the person that's attacking them. Does that make sense? So the intention determines the level. So I'll give you another example. Kamikaze pilots, right? The kamikaze pilots calibrated at 350, which is a high level of power. And you'll say, wait a second, they're flying planes into ships and murdering people. How can they have a high level of consciousness? Because their intention was to protect their country and their family. They were doing it for love of country. So the intention determines the level. Does that make sense, Lex?
yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, you're always in state. Don't think of it like you're ever out of it. And the second piece is that you influence it by your point of focus, whether that's an external point of focus or an internal point of focus, meaning your perception of the experience or the actual physical experience itself. What you want to do is work with the way you look at the experience, and that will influence your ability to stay in state. So for example, a very easy one to access for martial artists is excellence, mastery. They calibrate around 350, 400. So that's power, right? You're staying in a level of excellence to refine your skills, as opposed to punching this person because I hate them. Get it?
Mm.
Cool.
Thanks.
Does that answers it for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Wonderful to have you all here today, team. I'm super excited for this month. Yes, Thomas.
Just a logistical, since I missed the first half, what would be the means to see the first
I'll be
half?
loading the recording up for you guys in the community. It'll be in the spiritual intention module. I'll put it at the top, and I'll put the workbook with it as well.
Okay.
It's a good one this month, Tom. I think you're going to enjoy it. Like, we had a month of letting go last month, which was great, but it was also a bit of a bitch. Like, you have to I got to deal with these emotions. Far out. But it was wonderful. Like, I thoroughly enjoy surrender. It's a great tool to utilize.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Self-checking and tuning into a great vibe is what really matters. Yes, nothing else. Yes, I agree. I'll experience and influence everything in the best state if I'm in my best state. Yes. So consciously practicing state of intention will transition to naturally being in that intention. Yes. So that's it, guys. That's making it a priority to be in the feeling quality of one's intent. Yes, Thomas.
Oh, and so the mantra you were saying is you should choose one for the entire month, or can it change day to day? Or
If you want to change it, that's fine. Like I said, I'm not your mum, but it's good to have one that we drill in for a bit. You know what I mean? So it kind of, because one of my masters in Cyprus, my teacher in Cyprus, sorry, he used to say, use mantra like a weapon. Mantra is like taking the ego's weapon out of its hands, because the ego's main weapon is repetition. It'll silently whisper to you, you're not good enough, you'll never achieve that, blah, 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 blah. So the ego's weapon is repetition. He would say mantra is taking the tool of the weapon of the ego out of its hand and beating it on its head. I am peaceful, I am peaceful, I am peaceful, I am peaceful, I am peaceful. So I'd suggest, yes, stick with one, but feel free to evolve as you please. What else we got, folks? All these lovely heads. So wonderful to have you here.
I love it when you say, I'm not your mum.
I'm not.
How do you know?
I was wondering why. Anyway, so please share your observations in the community. Any questions, feel free to drop them in there as well. This month is the month of spiritual intent, getting into alignment. You've got the bits and pieces that were at the end of the workbook. So successes for you, power versus force, daily video, daily mantra. Really fall in love with spiritual intent. You know, I can't recommend it enough. You know, whatever your spiritual leanings might be, it's like a devotion to God or to Krishna, to the Christ, to the Buddha, or to the universe or Mother Nature or whatever your higher kind of intentions might be. So dive in. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Before we finish up, let me unpin myself. Should have done this earlier, but let's is that everyone? Yeah. Can we put ourselves on the screen? Gary and Kevin. Kevin's been a silent observer all the time. Jace, can we? Hey, Gary, good to see you. Kevin, hey, Kevin, can we see your face, Kevin? Or are you just going to be quiet? Or maybe he's not there. He's on TikTok. Get off TikTok, Kevin. Bro, it's rotting your brain. All right, if we could just smile for the camera, please. Smile. Oh, he's at work. All right. Am I taking pictures? Yeah, there we go. Hey. All right, now do a stupid face for me. Thanks, guys. Much love. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. If you want some assistance implementing these skills into both your martial training and your life so you can be calm, dangerous, and more powerful as you age, then click the link below or somewhere around this video to book a one-on-one assessment call with me. We'll go over your goals, put together a plan, and see if we're the right fit to actually train together. Look forward to meeting you. Peace.